Kathleen Kennedy somehow decided to make a Star Wars. And how much did that Star Wars cost? Well, it turns out the Acolyte didn't cost 180 million US dollars, as was implied by Leslie Headland. She hit the headline there. It's actually 180 million Great British pounds, otherwise known as $230 million to make the Acolyte, a show that we all expect could be yanked from Disney Plus for a tax write-off. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and today I am joined by not only Mr. VashSky, but also Culture Casino and Marvin, the movie monster. Gentlemen, I'm so glad that you could be here today.
I can't believe this is a real story.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna point out that Star Wars cost $11 million in 1977 to make, and they cut him off on that one to say, hey, you got to be done with this one. You got to release this one. Guess how much that is in today dollars?
How much?
Probably
$57 million. But here we are, the Acolyte.
Let me give you another one, Jonas. Lord of the Rings: Return of the King was $94 million budget.
You know,
wild.
I certainly would get my money's worth out of that one, because I think I watched that one several times a year.
That had CGI armies.
But let's look at this. An exclusive Star Wars The Acolyte real costs explode to $230 million, according to new tax documents. I don't get to write for the site as often as I used to, but I found it, so I'm going to write it up. This by me, Jonas J. Campbell. Exclusive United Kingdom tax documents filed by the Walt Disney Company's UK branch reveal that Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company spend over 172 million Great British pounds on the production of The Acolyte, a prequel series set in the Disney Star Wars universe. I added a word here to make sure everyone is clear on where this stands. 172 million Great British pounds is, I've got the actual calculation in front of me, is $230,909,958 million US as of today's current exchange rate. Guys, what could you do with $230 million?
Kill Star Wars.
That's the price. Well, I just have one question here, and I'm sure it's one that we're all asking. How does that happen? How is it possible that you spend $230 million on this production? It's inconceivable to me how you spend that much money. And by the way, guys, from what I understand, these UK tax filings and everything, I don't think they book the talent through this. So is this all below the line dollars is what we're thinking here?
I think they might have to report it, but they don't get a tax break on it. I know that. By the way, and just to be clear, since that is the subject that we're talking about here, the tax breaks that they get in the UK, we're not talking about the tax breaks. And in my defense for not including those figures, this is just as of September 24th of last year. So this is a show that came out in June of this year, and anything that they spent after September 24th of last year, so 1 year ago today, that is not included in this figure. So it is very likely that this show actually cost more than $230 million to make.
okay, can I say, how is that possible? How is that possible? Where's the money? You didn't see it on the screen.
You really didn't. There was one space sequence in this entire show, and everything else was on the ground.
Were they just eating like Kobe beef and lobster at catering every day? What? Where is this coming from?
There's not even talent on the screen. At one point, they were saying that they were going to perhaps enlist the help of Keanu Reeves, right? So they were going to cast him. Well, that would have, amounted to, I'm guessing, a larger paycheck than any of these other actors would. So they could have potentially spent even more money than this. But even at this level, it's not like you have the Avengers on staff. Who are you paying at these rates here? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Right. And on that note, they're getting Robert Downey Jr. for 2 movies for $100 million. Now, while that is an exorbitant exorbitant, price tag. You know what you're getting when you pay $100 million to put Robert Downey Jr. in your Avengers films. With this, they're paying $230 million on a largely untested show writer with almost, Carrie-Anne Moss is in there. And Lee Jung-jae, I'm going to say, bless his heart, he probably literally did not know how bad this show was because he was not a native English speaker, learned his lines phonetically, and still managed to deliver the best performance of the series, even with the handicap of delivering his lines phonetically. I really have no idea where that $230 million goes, or why someone in their right mind, an executive running a studio, would say, yeah, sure, $230 million in order to make a show that is going to go on a streaming service that has 230 million subscribers. And how many people watch this? Almost no one. Less than 3% of subscribers to Disney Plus watch this show.
Well, I think I calculated that at one point in time, and I think that was the calculation that I made way back when. And I have to tell you right now, you have a very embarrassing moment here for Disney overall, but specifically whoever the set of executives are that made this decision, and for Kathleen Kennedy, who greenlit the whole thing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Let's continue reading for just a moment. In an interview with Vanity Fair, the Acolyte series creator Leslie Headland publicly claimed the show cost $180 million, which was assumed by several to be stated in U.S. dollars. It is evident that if Headland had knowledge of the series' financials, that she was more likely referring to the amount in Great British pounds. Accounting for exchange rates at the time of the article, the Acolyte cost almost $230 million. Sorry, more than, got to update that. With 8 episodes in the series, this means that Lucasfilm, under Kathleen Kennedy, allowed the budget of the now canceled show to balloon to $28.75 million per episode, while also failing to attract an audience. UK tax filings for the Acolyte only account for what is spent on the series before September 24th of last year, so it's possible the figure might be adjusted as additional tax filings surface. The show was released on June 24th and failed to register on the Nielsen Top 10 overall chart, and only appeared on the Nielsen Top 10 original streaming chart at 488 million watch minutes before dropping off the charts altogether in the show's 4th week.
This has got to be the single greatest cataclysm to ever occur to a major studio. This show, it's the biggest flop of all time, officially.
This is like if you made like all 7 seasons of Game of Thrones and nobody watched them.
This is $20 million away from being $250 million.
That's,
and it likely exceeded even that amount, because here's the thing: a lot of this doesn't include marketing and advertising, which they have to do for these things as well. It doesn't come with those additional costs that might not be included in this figure, including that cutoff date that Jonas mentioned before. So you very well might be getting over $250,000 after all those expenses are accounted for, or very likely so. My question is now, Culture, do we know how much Shogun costs?
Not off the top of my head, no. But
I'm still trying to determine that figure.
Yeah,
I'm hearing that it's like around the $200 million mark, which for that show, especially with 10 episodes instead of 8, and each of them being about an hour long,
$250 million to produce 10 episodes.
Phew. But at least it's a good show, right? I haven't seen
14 Emmys. I mean, but everybody saw it. Everybody talked about it.
But it's $25 million an episode, right? Because that's the math, right? 10 episodes, $250 million, $25 million an episode.
Yeah, that's $18 million per Emmy. So there you go.
Well done.
Well, and this show with less time filmed, right? Because each episode is 8 episodes and each episode's 30 minutes. Somehow costs way more than that, which is set in feudal Japan. I mean, they're still you're still a world that you have to create on screen, and with a much larger cast, much more experience.
$230 million for 8 episodes. Am I right there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whee! Okay.
At least $230 million.
Well, and that's the problem, right? We keep after reverting back to that because we've watched the Star Wars budget for The Force Awakens explode year after year. We're like, hey, I thought you were done telling us how much you spent on this movie.
Right, and that seems to have lowered down to 2.7 million per year or so. Still waiting on additional filings there. We're not exactly sure what's going on there as far as the additional upkeep. Now, I will say a majority of that was right now that The Force Awakens has about $600 million in costs associated with it, and that's what Disney is reporting to UK tax entities. And Rise of Skywalker is less than that. Now, Rise of Skywalker only pulled in $1 billion at the box office altogether. Of course, if you're making $2 billion on the film, $2 billion in ticket sales, they didn't make $2 billion on that film with Force Awakens. Okay,
no,
sure. It's still a risk. It's a funny thing to think that a $2 billion film, they still took a lot of very large financial risks on spending $600 million to make that film.
That's just bonkers.
But yeah, those are pre-pandemic big tentpole blockbusters that at least have a revenue stream that you can even look to and say, okay, well, at least it pulled in this much at the box office. Now, of course, we know that there's a delineating line there between what the theaters take home and what the actual studios take home, and we know all that. With this, where's the revenue stream? Where's the payoff? Where's the needle moving? It doesn't exist for a show like this.
I was just about to say that, Vash. It's like you look at this, and what about modern day Star Wars? Even maybe 3 years ago when they probably went into production on this, what about the state of Star Wars told you that this was a positive investment? And for Disney Plus, of all places, like if it was a film, I could almost see it. But it's an 8-episode series on Disney Plus.
And if as long as we're talking about Disney Plus, they just had their first profitable quarter. And why was it profitable? Well, sorry. Again, I'm jumping the gun because I fell for it accidentally, rhetorically, the sleight of hand that Bob Iger tries to do. Disney Plus is not profitable. Disney Plus combined with Hulu, still not profitable. It was $19 million in the hole, with billions of dollars in revenue. And the only reason it is a positive is 47 million positive because they added in all of the income from ESPN Plus, which is a suspicious amount of income in a single quarter for ESPN Plus. So $230 million right now might be the reason that Disney Plus is technically not profitable.
Well, but I first of all, they didn't add an appreciable number of subscribers for that, right?
Right.
No. And how much of the cost of Shogun and The Bear, which were both up on Hulu, were actually paid for by FX and weren't on any of those expense reports for Disney Plus or Hulu?
That's a very good point. And The Bear, after all of that was said and done, The Bear, they moved the third season exclusively to Hulu,
right?
But only after they could pull some of their other shenanigans. That show does not cost $250 million to make. There's no way The Bear costs that much.
No. But they also did another shenanigan there too to try to get it in the top, of top 10 of originals or overall. They released all the episodes at once.
Wild.
That's true, because they wanted it all to show up on the charts at a single time. They killed one of the best shows that they have, according to critics, in order for a short-term headline to say that The Bear was the #1 show in streaming.
And it was after Bob Iger made a mistake in talking about it in the first place, and it was leading into a financial call.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but The Acolyte has been canceled.
Well, and
I heard about
now
that.
we know why, right?
But the fans are fighting for it, though. They're still fighting just as hard.
Well, they're going to have to bring up at least like $250 million, a $250 million in order to put it back into production, because that's really, honestly, that's what it's going to take. I mean, you would think that if you were continuing a series, that you would apply more costs to it, not less. People's budgets would go up, and you'd have to book them a second time, and there's an inflation there that would naturally occur. There's no way you can justify this. There is no way. Not $250 million. And this show, if it was $60 million, I'd be like maybe.
Well, but if the 80,000 people that watch this show, sign the petition or whatever, if those people just put up a little bit of their own piggy bank and give them $500 million, they'll offset the cost of the first season because they really loved it that much, and then they'll pay for the next season.
Those 80,000 signatures, if each one of them just produced $2,875, they can do one more 8-episode season of The Acolyte, and they can make that everything that they want it to be. Sure, you can have Amandla's characters being in love with. I still don't know which one of the twins he was supposed to be with at the end. I don't know. Maybe they paid Amandla Stenberg twice because she played twins. Maybe. Well, I don't know.
To be fair, guys, I am one of those signatures on that petition because The Acolyte made me a lot of money, guys. I wanted it back, and I'm not generating that kind of revenue for them.
Well, you could. Marvin, you could either have for $250 million another season of The Acolyte, or you could have maybe as many as 15 Godzilla minus ones. So you kind of have to weigh out your options there.
Now, look, as a movie fan, I would love those Godzilla minus ones. As a content creator, I need the second season of The Acolyte.
It's true. I would not be disappointed as a content creator, except that I would lose sleep doing live streams. Culture, go ahead.
I still need my second season of She-Hulk. Dang it.
I don't even know if I can go. I don't know if I can go that far, Culture.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. The article is over on thatparkplace.com if you want to go check it out. We provide receipts whenever possible on this. These are thank you, by the way, to the good people of the United Kingdom for providing the tax breaks so that we can all enjoy analyzing The Acolyte together. Sorry,
we feel bad. Really, we do.
Maybe I should send Nate a cake or something. I don't know.
That's right. Hey, Nate, thanks for the tax money.
All right, guys, you all need to go check out Marvin the Movie Monster over on Tooneytown Wrestling, which just hit 5K subscribers. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
He's also got Tooneytown TV. My friend above me, at VashSky, has a channel called That Pod Place where they do long form content, but also a live stream called T3PO. And over there, top left corner, is Culture Casino, not just the host of That Game Place, where we cover all the game stuff that should be fun. Also has a channel called Culture Casino where he does the 6-minute daily, going over topics like this one and also lots of fun business topics.
Guess what the lead subject is tomorrow morning?
Is it going to be the fact that The Acolyte somehow cost $230 million and was a complete ratings disaster?
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, and by the way, just throwing this in here for anyone who's not aware, Kathleen Kennedy might have greenlit this show at a time when Bob Chapek specifically said we aren't hiring any new people or greenlighting any new projects. So, well, too bad he's not there to ask Kathleen. All right. Well, thank you very much. Drop a comment if you have something to say on this one. Like this video if you like this video. And if you wouldn't mind, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.